All right, so we're going to start with Siddhartha Sanchez, Executive Director of Bronx River Alliance.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Siddhartha. I'm the Executive Director of the Bronx River Alliance. Right before Thanksgiving, Governor Hochul and the State Department of Transportation released the environmental assessment for the Cross Bronx Five Bridges project, leaving working families with only 31 weekdays for public comment period. This massive assessment, a document that spans over 5,000, nearly 6,000 pages of highly technical material, comes to us right in the middle of the holiday season as families have been, waiting for this time off. The reality is that we're all still recovering from Thanksgiving and gearing up for several more big holidays like Hanukkah, Christmas, and New Year's. And the this year, for the first time, New York City students are going to have their longest winter break ever, nearly 2 full weeks out of school. So this rushed review timeline simply doesn't allow enough time for Bronx families to shape this once in a generation project. And really, we shouldn't have to repeat our priorities over and over again. But to reiterate, we don't want a more expanded or widened Cross Bronx. We want standard bridge and highway repairs that move us towards better air and water quality. The state's current plans still miss the mark on that. Current proposals still bring substantial environmental impacts to our communities, both short term during construction and over the next 80 years, the lifespan of the project. To Governor Hochul and Commissioner Dominguez, we see you, we see the strides that you've made in collaborating with our communities, particularly since October. The interpretation and virtual hearings are appreciated, but now we really need additional time to comment on this environmental assessment. We need 90 days, better public meetings that are timed better, and really, truly fresh plans to reduce traffic and pollution included in the proposals that the state is offering. The Bronx remains ready to work with you and partners from across the city to lay the foundation for a more equitable Cross Bronx. Now, I'd like to introduce you to some of our coalition members standing with us today. First up, I'd like to bring Adrian Cacho from Open Plans to the mic.
Thank you, Siddhartha, and good morning, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Adrian, Senior Organizer at Open Plans. Look, I attended the second hearing on December 6th, and there was an extremely low turnout, which you'll hear is one of the themes today. And I was one of two people to testify, which was very disappointing and speaks to the fact that, right, releasing a 6,000 page, close to a 6,000 page draft environmental assessment on the eve of the holidays, and then expecting Bronx families to respond in a matter of weeks is not public engagement, it's exclusion. Communities that have borne the harms of the Cross Bronx Expressway for generations deserve real time and real say, not a rushed process for the remaining options that lock in or that will lock in decades of damage. We continue calling for a 90-day public comment period, better timed public hearings, and again, plans that will actually reduce vehicle miles traveled and pollution. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Next up, I want to invite Dariela Rodriguez from the Point CDC to share some comments.
Good morning. My name is Dariela Rodriguez. I'm the Director of Community Development at the Point CDC and have been doing work along the Bronx River for the past decade plus. Um, I'm going to echo some of the concerns. We do obviously still understand that we have to make repairs, but we don't see that just accepting that we have to widen or grow our current highway that we already have issues with, that is actually goes against what we're trying to do. We're trying not to accommodate the growth of traffic. We have to accommodate looking at solutions that actually improve public health, that actually improve our neighborhoods. And right now, what we're talking about is we can't even go through a 6,000 page document if we don't have the time to do that, and if we really do want to make sure that community members have an input and that we understand each other, and honestly that we can work together with state DOT to make this work. That is what's going to make us having more time, being able to respond, having more time to have public hearings. Those are the things that we're asking for now. And let's get through this document together, but we need to be able to really do that in order to do this job well. It's not going to be easy, and we recognize that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dariela, for those words. Next up, I want to bring Natasha Elder from the New York Public Interest Research Group.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Natasha with the Nightbrook Strap Hangers campaign, and we represent everyday riders and working families who already live with the consequences of the Cross Bronx. For decades, this highway has meant higher asthma rates, dangerous streets, and unreliable bus service for Bronx residents, and widening it only deepens those harms while failing to solve congestion. What's especially troubling is this process, releasing nearly 6,000 pages of highly technical environmental documents right before the holidays and giving folks just a few weeks to respond, effectively shuts people out of these decisions that will shape their health and mobility for generations. The Bronx deserves the same thoughtful, community-centered planning the state is pursuing elsewhere, including a full 90-day comment period and alternatives that reduce traffic, pollution, and vehicle miles traveled instead of repeating the mistakes of the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, looking for the right window here. Um, Next up, I want to bring Jackie Cohen from Tri-State Transportation Campaign. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sid, and thank you everyone for being here today. My name is Jackie Cohen. I'm the Director of Climate and Equity Policy at Tri-State Transportation Campaign. Look, I have a copy of The Power Broker in my hands. It's blurred, you can't see it, but you could tell that it is a big book. This is a book that details the impact that building the Cross Bronx Expressway has had for decades on the communities surrounding it in the Bronx. The environmental assessment that was released by NYers is 5 times longer than this book. This book took me longer than 90 days to read. What we're asking for is more time so that residents of the Bronx can weigh in on their future and the future of this highway that has caused so much damage for the past 70 years. I don't think that's a big ask from NYers and from the governor. So what we're asking for is an extension of time so that communities surrounding the Cross Bronx can weigh in on their health, their future, their mobility, and ultimately what we're asking for is a plan that does not widen the Cross Bronx Expressway. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. So powerful. Next up, I want to bring Danny Pearlstein from Riders Alliance.
Danny Pearlstein. I'm the Policy and Communications Director at the Riders Alliance. I live in northern Manhattan, across the Harlem River, and I live in Council District where 88% of the traffic is through traffic. It doesn't start here, it doesn't end here, and it's very similar, in the Bronx neighbors right across the river. I have in my hands a hardcover copy of The Power Broker, which my computer usually sits on top of. And I want to applaud Jackie for reminding it to pull it out. Even if the next Cross Bronx iteration still has those 3 lanes, it's like the difference between a paperback and a hardcover. If this hits the floor, it's gonna pack a tougher punch. And we can't afford that, right? This is no joke. We're talking about bringing the Cross Bronx Expressway, America's most notorious highway, closer to the homes in the Bronx River houses, creating a larger shadow over Starlight Park, demolishing hundreds of trees, and closer to the Fannie Lou Hamer Middle School, which is inexcusable. It was inexcusable in the 1950s. It's unbelievable today. We can't do it. As Daniela said, we owe the Bronx a full environmental study. We owe a full study of the corridor, not this rush job over the holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Next up, I want to bring Anju Huang from We Act, please.
Thanks, Sid. Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Huang, and I'm the Deputy Director and General Counsel of We Act for Environmental Justice. Our mission is to build healthy communities and ensure that people of low income and people of color participate meaningfully in the creation of sound and fair environmental health and protection and policies. And we support our South Bronx allies in asking for a better planning process and for the state to reconsider the expansion of the Cross Bronx. It would bring the highway much closer to our most vulnerable people, people who live in the public housing, uh, young young children, the elderly and the disabled, and users of a very heavily just refinished park. Like our friends in the Bronx, we support bridge and highway repairs and investments in improving our air and our water and our quality of life, and a way to bring us to where we need to be in the cleanest, most efficient way, but it's not by expanding highways further. It's not by supporting car traffic and vehicle traffic further. We asked the governor and the state DOT to consider a fresh alternative, one that doesn't widen the Cross Bronx, one that does not add traffic and pollution to Starlight Park and Bronx River housing. The residents of the Bronx deserve safer streets, cleaner air, increased connectivity to their neighborhoods. And that's not about expanding the Cross Bronx. It's about a better planning process that listens to the community about what they want and what they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Antu. Really appreciate those comments. Next up, Damon Gilbert from the New York Lawyers for the Public Interest.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Damon Gilbert with New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. I'm an attorney. I've been working with the Bronx River Alliance and the Stop the Cross Bronx Expansion Coalition for some time. I was aware the first day the draft EA came out, and it's my job to go through it, my job to work on this, and I am still not through the document. And it's what I spent the majority of my day doing most days since it's come out. The 6,000 pages does not even speak to how thick of a document it is. It's highly technical, and there's so much to go through, so much that is or is not wrong. But the ability for families and working Bronx communities to respond to this through public engagement, it's near impossible by the time they expect people to do so. The communities, along with Cross Bronx Expressway, have already lived with decades of pollution, asthma, and disinvestment, and asking working residents and families to go through these technical pages while schools are closed and holidays are happening is just simply unfair. We're not asking for special treatment. We're asking for the fairness that New York law strictly requires. The Bronx deserves a 90-day public comment period, better timed outreach, and alternatives that focus on cleaner air and water for everyone around the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Damon. Really powerful to hear your professional experience reviewing the environmental assessment. Next up, I want to bring up Reese Brosco from Youth Ministries for Peace and Justice.
Hello, thank you all. Reese Brosco, I'm the Brownfield Program Manager at Youth Ministries for Peace and Justice, a local community-based organization here in the Bronx River neighborhood. The Bronx River neighborhood has been on the front lines of environmental harms of 20th century highway development. And we've also been on the front lines of the subsequent community-led solutions for environmental improvement. We know and have known what we want and need in our community. That's safer streets, cleaner air, less traffic, and less pollution. A wider Cross Bronx Expressway won't help us get there. Neither will a rushed public comment period amidst the busy holiday season. We want solutions that address our needs and enough time to evaluate their environmental impacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Reese. Appreciate your involvement. Next up, I want to bring Dart Westfall from the Bronx Council on Environmental Quality, please.
Hello, I'm Dart Westfall. Bronx Council for Environmental Quality has been around since the first Earth Day. We need projects that bring less traffic and provide new and better ways to move people and goods. And this project does none of that. Thank you.
Thanks, Dart. Appreciate you. Next up, I want to bring Rafael More from Bronx Community Board 6.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rafael More. I'm the manager for Community Board 6. The community board is made up of regular people from the neighborhood who have now been attempting to comment on a 6,000-page document. Like others have said, the timeline really seems unfair to ask people in the neighborhood to understand what exactly the state is proposing. I also want to point out that people in this neighborhood have two east-west connectors that get them across the Bronx River. That's East 174th Street, a bridge that's in really bad shape and looks really bad and has concrete falling out of the sky, and East 177th Street, which is a street that's very difficult to cross and dangerous. And this project proposes improvements on neither of those streets. They are both excluded from the project area. And I think for the past year and a half, we've been working with a coalition of groups to push back on New York State DOT steamrolling over the community wanting to have input. And really, for a year and a half now, we've been fighting with the fact that state DOT sought $150 million in federal funds to connect communities on the other side of the Bronx River, but didn't ask those communities how they wanted to be connected. We might have said, look at 177th and look at 174th, but instead, State DOT has told us what they think can connect us. And now the community has said, we don't think that's necessarily the best solution. They want to steamroll through a process over the holidays. So we really appreciate the coalition for working to elevate these concerns and ask for more time for the experts to analyze the environmental assessment. Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael, for emphasizing that local perspective. Next up, I want to bring up M. Ruby from Riverkeeper, please.
Thank you so much. So, hi there. My name is M. Ruby, and I represent Riverkeeper, which is an organization that protects the Hudson River from source to sea, including the waters of New York City. Today, we are proud to join this coalition of partners in calling on the state and the governor to extend the comment period for the Cross Bronx Five Bridges environmental assessment to 90 days, and to listen to Bronx residents when they say no more highway expansions. This project will have a significant impact on surrounding communities and the environment through increased air pollution, threats to water quality in the Bronx River, and encroachments to Starlight Park. The community deserves more than 31 days during the holidays to review and comment on this proposal, and we call on the state to extend this comment deadline and propose new alternatives that will protect community members and the environment for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, I want to bring Taylor Jaff from the Catskill Mountain Keeper.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Taylor Jaffe. I'm Catskill Mountain Keepers Program Manager, and we anchor the Rethink Route 17 Alliance. We are standing with Bronx residents today. Communities that are directly impacted must be involved in transportation planning if we're going to right the wrongs of the past. We see in other projects around the state, DOT is starting to make strides and really starting to listen to community members, but we still need a statewide policy to end highway expansions. And right now, we need more time, specifically a 90-day comment period for Bronx community members to properly digest information so that way they can come to the table and be active participants in their future.
Thank you, Taylor. Memphis, Washington from the Waterfront Alliance.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Memphis, Washington. I'm speaking on behalf of the Waterfront Alliance. Our mission is to ensure that every New Yorker has access to clean and healthy waterways, resilient infrastructure, and equitable planning. That's why we're deeply concerned about the current approach to the Cross Bronx Five Bridges project, and especially the public comment process. We join our partners in calling for a full 90-day comment period and better timed, fully accessible public meetings. The Bronx River is a recovering ecosystem. We cannot allow highway expansion to undo that progress with more pavement, more runoff, and more pollution. Instead of an expansion of the Cross Bronx, we should consider leveraging plans like the Blue Highways activation, where a modern maritime freight network can move goods, dramatically reducing diesel truck traffic and protect communities like those along the Cross Bronx from further harm. So for us, our message is clear. Repair the bridges, yes. Protect public safety, absolutely, but do not widen the Cross Bronx. Instead, let's bring forward a new alternative that reduces pollution, restores community connections, leverages our waterways for modern freight, and protects the Bronx River and its surrounding neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you, Memphis. Really appreciate it. Kevin Garcia from Nija.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for everyone being here. Whether it's in Albany or here in the Bronx, New York needs to move away from bigger highways and towards a repair-first, community-centered solutions. Now, while the state DOT eliminated its worst proposal, all the remaining options still widen the corridor and push traffic and air pollution closer to families and homes. At the same time, the state has released this 6,000-page environmental assessment, a beast of a document during the busiest time of the year. It's insane to ask communities to read through it. So we're asking for what communities elsewhere in the state are already getting: a 90-day public comment period, better timed genuine outreach, and alternatives focused on standard repairs, safer streets, cleaner air, and real connectivity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Eric McClure from Streets Pack.
Thanks, Siddhartha, and glad to be here. My name is Eric McClure. I'm the Executive Director of Streets Pack. We're a political action committee and advocacy organization The Cross Bronx Five Bridges project should be laser focused on righting the wrongs of past decades, laying the groundwork for a community and climate friendly future rather than creating and exacerbating a 1950s style approach to road building. New York State DOT should be developing a forward looking plan for the next 75 years, not a misguided retrograde highway widening that repeats the mistakes of the last 75 years. We stand with the people of the Bronx and our colleagues in environmental justice and transportation advocacy and urging Governor Hochul and New York State DOT to extend the public comment period to 90 days, rather than this rushed month-long window that we're in that overlaps the year's biggest holidays and a school break. The Bronx has been forced to live with the problems created by the Cross Bronx for the better part of a century, and we don't think it's too much to ask to extend the public comment process by 2 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Leticia de Mello Bueno from Patagonia.
Good morning. Repairing the five bridges on the Cross Bronx Expressway is more than infrastructure and repair. It's about fairness and respect. It's about acknowledging the errors of the past and intentionally doing things differently. As a global retail operator, Patagonia understands this time of year very well. People are taxed, tired, attention is everywhere, bandwidth is so limited. So let's be clear, giving Bronx residents only 31 days amidst the holidays, longer school breaks, and the hard work they do every day to keep this city running, to read, digest, and comment on 5,000 pages of technical material, that sounds like a page right out of a Dickens novel. Scrooge would be proud, and the Grinch even more so. Worse, it harkens back to the days of Robert Moses when decisions were made without regard for the people whose lives were upended. We can do better together. Please extend the comment period to 90 days. Give people the respect they deserve, a real chance to participate in crucial projects that affect their lives. That's how New York shows leadership, goodwill, and a clean break from the past. The way this highway and bridges were built in the past is not how we should move on in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Leticia. Michelle Lubke from the Swim Coalition.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. My name is Michelle Lupke. I am the program manager for the Swim Coalition, and we are an organization of over 70 different organizations, many of whom are represented here, who are advocates for clean water and environmental justice, and this project does neither. We uplift the words of everyone else, asking for a 90-day comment period, which should be not focused during the holiday season, giving other people and members of the community plenty of time to digest the full impact of this. But we do not support more concrete. We do not support more combined sewer overflows, polluting an already polluted Bronx River. And we support green spaces like green infrastructure, not more concrete in the Bronx. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Diana Finch from the Bronx Parks East Community Association.
Hello, all. My name is Diana Finch. I'm chair of the Bronx Park East Community Association. We advocate mainly for the community along Bronx Park from Pelham Parkway to Allerton, but our members recreate throughout all of Bronx Park and the Bronx River Greenway, and our annual basketball tournament features teams from Gun Hill to the Bronx River houses. Time and again, including on the Bronx River Parkway, we have seen how, for any infrastructure that impacts our parks and public spaces, it's critical to have community input, beginning at the conceptual pre-design phase, and for the agency to heed that input and incorporate it in the infrastructure design. Because this infrastructure is going to last for decades and generations and shape the community in significant ways. We've seen how the community values public spaces and our reclaimed Bronx River, not encroached on by highways, parkways, or access roads. We urge New York State DOT to allow a full review period for community input on the Cross Bronx Bridges project. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Diana Bernal from the Bronx Health Reach.
Thank you, Sid. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Diana, and I'm a program coordinator at Bronx Health Reach. The 3 public hearings about the $900 million plan to repair the Cross Bronx Expressway came and went in a blink of an eye, and the end of the commenting period for this plan is quickly approaching. Unfortunately, the public review period for this plan is happening during the busiest holiday season of the year when people are understandably focused on other things and do not have the time to review the environmental assessment and share their thoughts on it during the public comment period. Given how important this is and how the community has been really engaged in all that has transpired so far, to give the public comment period its rightful due, we are asking for a 90-day public comment period with flexible public meeting times so more Bronx residents can attend and provide comments so their neighborhoods will have safer streets and cleaner air. While we are happy that the New York State DOT eliminated its worst plan from consideration, the three remaining options that expand the Cross Bronx Expressway will have substantial environmental impacts, both in the short and long term, and as a result contribute to the Bronx continuing to have the lowest health outcomes of all the 62 counties in the New York State. We will keep being 62 out of 62 when it comes to health outcomes in New York. So we need fresh alternatives that doesn't widen the Cross Bronx and exacerbate the health impacts problems already existing. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Kobe Ruthenberg from ORG.
Thank you, Sid. Hello, everybody. As urban planners and designers, we view the environmental assessment process as a critical moment to reconsider both the scope and ambition of the project and want to underscore the need to do it properly. More so, ORG is concerned that the current project limits are overly restrictive, foreclosing opportunities for more meaningful and substantial local connections and excluding alternatives that move beyond a ramp and a shared use path along the highway. By inviting direct pedestrian contact along the Cross Bronx Expressway as currently proposed, the project will expose additional residents to direct air and noise pollution while overlooking significant opportunities to improve pedestrian and bicycle connections to local community assets. We believe that expanding the project boundary and engaging the community in a more transparent and open-ended manner would dramatically improve the design and outcomes of this investment. ORG remains committed to working with the community partners towards solutions that prioritize health, connectivity, and long-term environmental justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Kobe. Anna Berlanga from Transportation Alternatives.
Hello, my name is Anna Berlanga, and I'm from Transportation Alternatives. I'm the Bronx and Uptown organizer. We're an advocacy organization that advocates for better walking, biking, and public transit in New York City, and my job is to do that in the Bronx. We stand with our coalition partners in calling for a 90-day public comment period and to ensure that the Cross Bronx Expressway is repaired within its current existing footprint, not an inch more. As you have heard over and over on this call, the Cross Bronx Expressway is a historic highway for all the wrong reasons. We want to make sure that we aren't doubling down on the choices of the past. Instead, we want to make sure that the state, in conjunction with residents, work together to ensure a breathable future for the Bronx. The ask isn't big. We're just asking to, again, repair the highway within the existing footprint and to give the community 90 days to be able to digest 6,000 pages of documents and to comment. We know the state and Governor Hochul have listened to us as they have eliminated the worst options from their original plan and have come to the community with new alternatives. We ask that they continue to operate in good faith and continue to work with the community by extending the comment period to 90 days and repairing the highway within its current footprint.
Thank you, Ana. Leslie Mejia from We Stay Nos Quedamos.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I come representing We Stay Nos Quedamos, and we are accountable to the Melrose community in the South Bronx. From NQ's perspective, the proposed Cross Bronx Expressway expansion directly contradicts the Climate Leadership and Community Protections Act commitment to environmental justice and investment in disadvantaged communities like Melrose. Our neighborhood already exists in a 3-highway chokehold where concentrated traffic drives poor air quality, high asthma rates, and intensifies heat island effects due to its limited green space. Advancing this expansion that increases vehicle miles traveled and years of construction only deepen these harms despite community concerns around safety, health, and livability. Our focus is on protecting a good and fair quality of life for our neighbors and residents, and we believe state investments must reflect what communities in Melrose are actually asking for and not repeating the displacement and damage of our past. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate you closing us out in that way. In closing, want to express that we look forward to working with our state officials to review the remaining repair options and to lead a successful, equitable Cross Bronx Five Bridges projects. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Marissa will facilitate questions from the press.
Yeah, thank you all so much. So if you are a reporter with a question, please either raise your Zoom hand or put your name and outlet in the chat, and we'll call on you. In the meantime, I am putting my email in the chat. If you have any follow-up questions today, I am around to chat. We've got Dave Colon from Streets Blog. What's up?
Hi everyone, Sid and everyone. I just am curious. Obviously, there is a lot of consternation over the idea of the three alternatives that all widen shoulders, widen the cross Bronx a little bit. So, if the state were to listen to you and not do any widening of the structure at all, would this have to restart the process? I don't know if anybody from a legal perspective here can talk about the process for all of this, or can they just kind of scribble something in the EA and say, oh, we're just going to find this other thing to throw in there?
I don't have an answer for that, but I will, defer Kashif if wants to speak, please.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Good morning and happy holidays. My name is Kashif Hussain, and I'm the Deputy Public Advocate for Infrastructure and Environmental Justice at the Office of New York City Public Advocate Jumaane D. Williams. Coming from the grassroots organization background, and this public advocate, Jumaane Williams, and our office organizes closely with the community groups and other advocates to identify issues and uplift the voices of New Yorkers to the city and state level. The request here is simple: increase the comment period that will have everlasting consequences on the residents of the Bronx to 90 days. The Cross Bronx Expressway, conceived by Robert Moses, has since its inception terrorized those who live in the Bronx, from causing health-related issues to dividing communities. Isn't it the very least we can do to make sure that there is adequate enough time for community input? Aren't we obligated to give the time to the community that will not only be affected by the new plan, but who have for so long have been harmed by the original infrastructure? Can we just let the New Yorkers rest during the holiday season? One cannot give a fully informed comment on 6,000-page report during the busiest time of the year, and this is coming from an engineer who has worked on capital infrastructure projects for over 2 decades. With multiple holidays oncoming and the New Year's just around the bend, the Bronx side needs more time for such an impactful decision. This is nothing new. The state has taken the time to flesh out the fully dedicated planning website for the Route 33 Expressway in upstate New York. It is complete with snappy videos that invites Buffalo and Western New York residents to share their ideas to move Queen City forward. Why is the Bronx treated any different? While the worst of the plan is not being considered, we must consider closely the short and long-term impacts on the highway built closer to public housing tenants, middle school students, and the park. The New York State DOT says they are producing new designs according to the modern standards. But how do we define modern when we know that widening highways increases traffic and increases pollution? How do we define modern when we know that this highway itself has been a cause of so much disharmony for decades? Make no mistake, a rush process creates a false narrative of community input, and when you create a false narrative, you repeat the long, painful history of the borough. There should be, for example, an opportunity for Bronxites to declare that they in fact want to remove the highways that have long hindered their health, to reimagine a new form of use of their community, such as Albany's repurposing of Interstate 787 for community's benefit. At the very least, New York State DOT needs to refocus on just making sure after years of delay, they make repairs on time, as well as investing in clean air and water quality. How is it fair that one community's modern standards are different from the others? These are the modern standards that we should live up to. Instead of pouring more gasoline on the fire, the Bronx deserves to finally have its place in environmental justice. We have to rewrite the wrongs of yesterday and move towards a better, greener future. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Kashif. So back to questions. Again, if you're a reporter with a question, please put your name and outlet in the chat. All right, thank you all so much for being here. Dave, I'll be in touch with you soon to discuss your question. Have a great rest of your day.